Hi, Irene here. So on this video, we are going to be talking about rendered elevations. And again, when I talk about rendered, I don't mean photorealistic renderings. That's a different topic for a different day. In this case in particular, I'm talking about stylized render elevations. These are those pretty drawings that interior designers usually do for their clients, where they can see the finishes of the proposal. In this video in particular, we're going to be focusing on the materials from Revit and how to customize them to show what the materials truly should be. So let's get to it. All right, Tiny Irene on the bottom left. So in our last video, for which you can see the link above, we took this elevation and we enhanced it by cleaning up the borders, getting rid of unnecessary information, and playing with the graphic display and the style to make it look a little bit more flavorful. Delicious! And as I said, on this video, we're going to be focusing on materials. Now, I don't want to be mean, but the options on the default Revit library are not great. They serve their purpose functionally. I can see that this is a door, for example, but the materials are not really great. So what we're going to be doing here and what we're going to focus on is creating our own custom materials, and then how you use those custom materials to show the different finishes. So I'm going to move this here to the side a little bit just so we can work with our properties. And in this video, we are going to be focusing on changing the materials of our millwork elements. So doors, windows, baseboards, crown molding. We're going to do a custom wallpaper for the wall. And we're going to do custom finishes for the mirrors and vanity. So that is kind of how you want to start. You need to start by defining what are the materials that you're going to be creating. So this is not the point where you would be deciding what materials you're using. At this point, you should have somewhat a clear idea of what materials you're going to be using on your proposal. Because what I'm going to be doing here is, instead of trying to modify the existing materials, I'm just going to be creating materials from scratch. So let's start with this door here. So I'm going to select the door, and if I go into edit type, you're going to see that the door already has materials applied to it, which is what we can see here on the preview. So to change that material, you're going to go not to this button here, but right next to it on the left side, and click, and that is going to open the material manager browser. So if I go here to the appearance, you're going to see here the properties of my wood. Now, the reason that I'm not just going to modify these materials is because a lot of the default materials on the Revit library have a lot of constraints attached to them. So for example, here you can see that the definition of this material is that it's a wood, and I'm basically like, that's it, it's a wood, no way around it. I can change the image if I want to, but I could not do, for example, like other properties, so to speak. So because of that, it's a lot easier for me to just start with a brand new material. So I'm going to go here on the bottom left where there's the sphere with a plus to create and duplicate materials, and I'm going to create a new material. Now I'm going to go under identity, and I'm going to rename this material millwork white. And the reason for that is because in this case in particular, on this proposal, I wanted all of my door and window framing and trims to be just plain white. I don't want them to like take away from the rest of my rooms. And now when I come back here to appearance, we are going to focus only on the generic properties of our materials. We do not need to work with reflectivity or self-illumination or bump. Those are properties that you're usually going to see when the render is photorealistic. But here we're going more for an stylized look. Okay, so I'm just gonna go under color, click, and choose white. I'm not gonna complicate my life. Apply, okay, and you can see that it has already overwritten the material If I click apply and OK, you can see that now the door is white, but I didn't do the trim. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to type millwork. OK, apply, OK. Same thing with my window. I'm going to go here under edit. Now on your window, you have two materials. You have the glass and you have basically the frame. That's what the sash is. We don't need to change the material of the glass because the glass is currently being cut. And if you saw my previous video, I changed the visibility graphic properties, so any part of my window that is being cut is overwritten with black. So I don't need to change my glass material. So I'm just gonna come here and use the same millwork material for my window frame. And there you go, nice and white. And then I'm also going to use it for my baseboard and my crown molding. So once again, edit type, and this is going to be millwork. And pick my crown, edit type, and millwork. Alrighty. Alright. Okay, that's looking so much better already. Now, with my door in particular, you may have noticed that I didn't have an option to change the color of the handle. It was just giving me the options of the material of the door itself and the trim. And that is because in this case, my door handle is a nested family. That is when there is a family inside another family. So what I need to do if I want to change the material of my door handle is select the entire door, go to edit family, and now within the family, select the handle and go to edit type. See, there's my handle. There is the door handle material. So now I can click here. Let's check appearance and see if I can just override it. See, it's not really letting me overwrite it. So it's a lot easier for me to just create a new material. So create new material. This is gonna be hardware. Jesus, learn to write hardware. And go here to appearance, and once again I'm gonna do just a solid color. Now this is gonna depend on what's gonna be the finish of your hardware. In my case, I want to go with black hardware for all of my doors, but here's the thing. When you're doing black, my recommendation is don't just crank it all the way to black, because if you do that, the black of the material will overlap with the black of the outlines, and as a result, you're not going to be able to appreciate the detailing of the geometry very well. So even if I'm doing jet black in real life, on my representation, I make it more of a dark gray, because that way, I'm going to be able to see the outlining and detailing of that geometry. So I'm going to say apply, okay, and okay. And I can't really see it here, but that's fine. We're going to go yes, and override. And now my door handle is black. But if I zoom in, you can see that I can see the detailing, which is what I want. Alrighty. So now comes the next one, which is my wall. And walls are going to be a little bit different, because the thing is that so far what I've been doing is I have been working with the family types. So when I change the material of my door, if there are more doors in this model, now all of them are going to be white. Same thing with my windows, same thing with the baseboard, same thing with the crown molding. Walls are a little bit different, because even within the same room, you can have multiple wall finishes. I could have the wall that is opposite to this one being tile and this one being wallpaper, and maybe the sides are paint. But when it comes to the type, the family, they are all the same generic wall, 6-inch thickness or whatever it is. So when it comes to applying finishes to walls, what I like to do is work with painting instead of changing the type or family properties, because that's going to give me the freedom to do different finishes on different walls depending on the circumstances. So because of that, I'm going to work a little bit backwards. Instead of selecting the object and then changing the properties, I'm going to first create my material and then I'm going to apply it to my object. So I'm going to go Manage tab, Materials, and I'm going to create a new material. which is going to be called wallpaper. Wallpaper, perfect. And now under appearance, I'm going to not be working with a color, but instead I'm going to be working with an image. So I'm going to click, and that's going to open my browser. Now, I personally have developed over the years a library of images that I can use as textures for my materials. If you don't have such a library, you can go online, and this is when where you would spend some time searching for images to use on your 3D model. We can make a different video a different day that can be all about how to find these images to use in 3D models and materials. But here I already have them, so I'm just gonna load them. Gotta go fast. And there you go. So here is my material loaded. Usually what I like to do is, I hate these little spheres that display, so I will change it to either a cube, a canvas, or a wall, depending on the circumstances. In this case, I'm gonna do it wall because it's wallpaper. And I'm gonna leave it at this for now. I want to apply it to see how it's looking on my scene. So, okay. And again, after I've created the material, now I can go on modify, and you're gonna find the paint tool or quick key PT, and that opens the browser, and I can select my wallpaper material and paint my walls. Isn't that nice? Nice. So obviously this isn't looking pretty hot. So now we're going to start playing with the properties of this wallpaper. So we're gonna go manage, material, and appearance. So once we're here, I'm going to click on my image so I can see the properties of the image itself. And in this case, I want to start with the scale, because by default, whenever you create a new material, the size is going to be 12 by 12, or I think it's 300 by 300 if you're working metric. But that is obviously, that doesn't look correct. This wallpaper in particular is a mural. So the whole point of a mural is that it's one image that is basically the size of your wall. They're usually custom made. So I need to change my scale here to better reflect that. Now this room ceiling height, I think it's like either 8 or 8 feet 6 inches. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna round up. I want to have a little bit of excess, so to speak, so I'm gonna round it to 9 feet, and there you go, and done, and apply, and that's looking way better already. Except that if I move this away, you're gonna see that there's a little bit of a cutout. Now, if you have a wallpaper installer and they ever install a mural like this, it is time to get yourself a new wallpaper installed.
Fired. I beg your pardon? Fired. But I...
Fired! This is bad. So we need to come back here to our image properties, and now we're going to play with the position. So this position refers to the positioning of this image with respect to your drawing. And X and Y are going to allow you to move left, right for X and Y for up and down. So for example, if my image is a little bit off to the right side, I need to move it on X to lose this excess, this like cut line. So I'm gonna come here, and on X, I'm gonna move it, let's say -6. So it's gonna move 6 inches to the left. Done, and apply, and ooh, almost. So I'm gonna click here. I think -8 will do the trick. -8 and apply. Perfect. On Y, it's perfectly fine, so we don't need to worry about it. But as you can see now, my image is looking like centered on my wall, so to speak. Great stuff. All right, awesome. So we have the bulk of our elements, and now we're going to be focusing on our vanity mirror set. So first of all, I'm going to be doing my mirror. So I'm going to start with creating my two materials. The way that I modeled this mirror, it's not a family, it's a model in place component, and I didn't bother applying any materials to any of these elements whatsoever, except like this mirror surface here, but it's not really going to work for what we want. So I'm going to select my mirror, go to edit in place, and what I'm going to do is now I'm going to, same as with my wall, I'm going to first create my material and then paint my mirror with it. So manage materials, and I'm going to create a new gold material because my mirror is going to be golden frame and then mirror on the inside. So identity, this guy's going to be gold. Now here comes the interesting thing. Because we're not working with a photorealistic rendering, when it comes to materials, it becomes more a matter of a symbolic representation. Because when you're working with a material where you don't have reflectivity, how do you tell the viewer that this is a shiny metal? So the way that it has been historically done on hand drawings is by doing whatever base color your material is and then having a gradient white line going through the middle. And this insinuates that light is kind of like reflecting or bouncing off from this object. This kind of image is very easy to either find online, or you can make it yourself in Photoshop. You just paint a base color and then paint a horizontal white band and then just diffuse the edges. But again, I already have a library, so I just have to load my materials. So I'm going to click here on their image. And here I have my list of metals, and I'm going to choose this one for my gold. Once again, I'm not going to worry right now about scaling or positioning because I need to first apply my material on my scene. I'm also going to use the cube for the preview. Apply OK. And now we're going to go modify, paint, PT. And let's see, I can't see my gold, so I'm just going to type it here. G-O-L-D, perfect. And paint. Now make sure that you're painting the frame and not the inside. And ooh, that's looking hot.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
But again, I want to play with this a little bit. So see, you can see the little white band here and then there. That creates that illusion that the object is reflective, but I don't like that much repetition. So I'm going to come here, click on my image, and once again, I'm going to play with my scale. Let's make it 30 maybe. Done, and apply. That's looking better. Now, I don't like that the light part is at the bottom. The way that I imagine it is that if there would be a light source, it usually would be at the top. So I'm going to shift on Y a little bit. Let's say on Y 6 inches. And let's see where that puts it. And that's looking way better. Yes. Okay. Alrighty. So now that we have our hot mirror frames, let's make the inside of the mirror. And again, mirror is one of those materials that it's really hard to represent artistically because usually a mirror doesn't have a finish. Like a mirror is just reflecting whatever else is happening around. So usually when working with hand drawings or stylized elevations, the way that a mirror is represented is with gray with a white band. So once again, we're going to go to materials and I'm going to create a new material, which is going to be my mirror. So we're going to go here and mirror. Oh, there's already a mirror material, but it's this guy here, which is photorealistic. So we're going to do mirror stylized. Yes. And here under appearance, again, oof, my computer is a little bit slow. It's still showing the gold. That's fine. Let's do a cube, and then I'm gonna click here. And from the images, I'm gonna be working with this image here. So as you can see, it's gray with a white band. So open and apply and okay. So we're gonna go PT to paint, select our mirror stylized, and then paint the inside, paint the inside. Alrighty. So again, this is not looking very realistic or, you know, good yet because we have to play with the properties. So I'm gonna go under my materials, appearance, and now what I want to do this time is a couple things. So obviously I want to increase my scale because you don't want that much repetition of the white band. So let's say that I'm going to increase this to 36 maybe. Let's see. Great, that's looking way better. And now here comes the detail. So if you've seen old school architectural drawings, usually when they want to show glass or metal or reflective surfaces in general, what they would do is they would have the surface and then they would draw these kind of like 2 or 3 diagonal little lines to, I don't know, symbolize that. So what we're gonna be doing here is we're gonna try to kind of insinuate that a little bit by inclining our band at a 45-degree angle. And to do that, we can use under position instead of X and Y, the rotation. So I'm gonna go here, 45 degrees. Ooh, apply. And that's looking much better. Now, the other thing that I wanna do is I would like it to be kind of like the band in the center. So once again, I'm gonna play with my Y position to drop that. That's much better. Yes, let's make this maybe 6 instead. There you go. That's what I want. Great stuff. So this mirror is completed. See, so now you have a material that is your gold frame and you have the material that is your reflective mirror surface. And we're gonna finish it up with the more fun one, the vanity. So we're gonna select, again, it's also a modeled in place component, so I don't necessarily have material properties the same way that I would have with a regular family. So I'm gonna click here. And the base is supposed to be the same gold as the mirror frame. So I'm gonna select all of this geometry. And here under the material category, I'm just gonna type gold. Great. And there you go, that's looking fancy. And now I'm going to create a finish for my vanity cabinet, which is going to be a wood veneer. And I'm going to create another finish for the top and backsplash, which is going to be a marble. So let's start with the vanity. Same as before, I'm going to first create the material and then apply it. I find that just to be easier. So materials, new material. And again, you might be, but wait, Irene, there's so many different wood finishes within the Revit library. Why don't I just use one of those? You can. I personally find that they all look awful. I don't want to be mean, but I really don't like them. So I always work with custom materials one way or another. Very rarely do I work with the actual Revit materials. So first of all, we have the wood grain direction. So this is like the little lines of the veins of the wood, which direction they go on. So if you're working with solid wood, there are certain rules as which direction that veneer goes based on how the wood is cut. But when you're working with wood veneer, you can basically have them go in any direction, whether vertical or horizontal. In this case, I like it to go horizontal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click here on my image and I'm gonna rotate it to 90 degrees. Much better. So I have my marble applied, but it's not looking really hot. In fact, it's actually looking like those laminates that you buy at Home Depot that is like imitation marble and they're god awful. It's looking like that. So not very marble looking. So definitely this is one where we're going to want to go back to those properties for sure. So again, manage materials, and on our marble, I'm gonna play with my scale. Now here's the thing. With the scale of my veneer and my gold and my mirror, I was just basically typing in whatever number would work for me until the scale was the size that I wanted it. When I work with marble applied on surfaces, like on this case, I like to make my image be the real size that a marble slab would have in real life. Because in real life, what you do is you go to the stone store and you buy a slab and then you cut that slab to size. So technically speaking, you should have no repeat on your finish. So what I'm going to do here is on my scale, I'm going to unlock the equal aspect ratio, and I'm going to change my height and width to represent those that the slab would have in real life. Let's say that it's going to be a 10 feet slab by 4 feet. See, so I want my slab to be the size that the slab would be in real life. Apply. And this is already looking better, but now I need to work with the positioning of my veining, because again, since it's one image, it's like very unique. So same way as in real life that you want to like find the patterns that you like and use those, I'm gonna do the same thing here. All right, and we're back. And as you can see, I played with my X and Y positioning, now it's 12 and 24, until I could see the parts of my marble pattern that I wanted to see on this image. And when I click OK and OK, my vanity is ready. I'm not gonna save. You should do as I say, not as I do. And here are my materials. And as you can see, this bathroom is already looking so good. Oh, wait, I forgot this door here. Whoops. I did, and you're supposed to be millwork. And see, and there, and apply, and okay. There you go. This is already looking so much better. Now you may be asking yourself, wait, you didn't do anything to the faucets or the light that is on the wall. And that's because we're going to be working with that in our next video. So that means that we've reached the end of this video. I hope that you liked it. I hope that this got the creative juices running. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments. If you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe. That would help me a lot. It would help me know if like people actually like what I'm doing or not. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.